The water cycle, 3rd grade. If you were to get a glass of water and place it on the table in front of you, by just looking at the water, could you guess how old is this water? The water in the glass may have fallen from the sky as rain just last week, but the same water may have been around pretty much as long as this earth has. This water could have been around when the dinosaurs were walking the earth, even back in the day when the princes and princesses, kings and queens, knights and squires drank from their own wells. The earth has a limited amount of water. The water keeps going around and around and around in what we call the water cycle. The water cycle is made up of a few parts. It's made up of evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collection. First off, evaporation. When the sun heats up the water in rivers, lakes, or the ocean and turns it into vapor or steam, it then leaves the river by rising into the air. Which leads to my next question. Do plants sweat? Sort of. People perspire, which we call sweat, while plants transpire. The process of transpiration is when plants lose water out of their leaves. The process gives evaporation a bit of a hand in getting the water vapor back up in the air, which leads us to condensation. Condensation is when the water vapor in the air gets cold and changes into liquid. When you pour a cold glass of water on a hot day, this process happens. Water will form on the outside of the glass, but the water didn't leak through the glass. It came from the air. Water vapor in the warm air turns back into liquid when it touches the cold glass, which leads us to precipitation. Precipitation occurs when so much water has condensed that the air cannot hold it anymore. The clouds get heavy and water fall back to the earth, either in the form of rain, hail, sleet, or snow, which finally leads us to collection. So when the water falls back to the earth as precipitation, it could fall back into the lakes, ocean, rivers, or end up on land. When it ends up on land, it will sink into the earth and become part of groundwater. That plants and animals will use to drink, or it could run over the soil and collect in the oceans, lakes, or rivers, where the water cycle starts all over again. Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to do an experiment on the water cycle. The objectives today are the student will communicate the process of the water cycle. Also, the student will be able to infer what variables affect the process of the water cycle. And third, the student will value the work of experimentation as a scientist by doing the experiment of the water cycle. Let's get started. You will need a bowl, a glass, saran wrap, hot water, and ice. Okay, what we're going to start off with is our bowl and our glass. We're going to put it in the center of our bowl, the glass in the center of the bowl. And then you're going to get your water and you're going to pour it around your glass. You can already see the evaporation happening. Just like that. Okay? Then we're going to get the saran wrap and we're going to cover it. Let me move this out of the way. Nice and tight, like so. Break this off. Okay. So you want it nice and tight and closed so that it all stays in there. You can already see the condensation starting. You're going to get an ice cube and you're going to place it on top of your bowl. The hot water is going to be like the sea, which is the sun, okay? And the plastic wrap is your atmosphere. And then you're going to see it start evaporating into the atmosphere, and it's going to start condensing on top, which it already did. So when it hits the ice cube, it'll participate into the cup, and then in a little bit, after a while, you'll see how it will start melting into the inside of the cup. So see, the ice cube is going to condense into the cup, so you'll see it in a little bit. See, underneath the ice cube, it is condensing. So when enough water gathers, like in a rain cloud, it will precipitate into the cup, which the cup is known as the land. So when we take off the saran wrap, after it has already precipitated into the cup, that will show us how much water will be in the lake or land, whatever. So that is the experiment. Okay, and here's the water. So it's not a lot because it was only one ice cube. So there it is. And that concludes our experiment. I hope y'all had fun.